Hello, and thank you for joining us today. Actually, today I have a special guest with us, Danial Mohammad. He is the lead for the development team here at SetSchedule. And first off, thanks for joining us.
No problem, of course.
So kind of the goal of today and what I wanted to do is spend a little bit of time to get to know you, get to know the team, and really start to understand the technology that we've developed and kind of what are we looking for, not only in the present, but in the next 6 months. I think a lot of our members are really excited about the new tech that we've been developing, and they're sending all these wonderful features and feature requests and all this, right? And I know that we take that and we try to implement what we can. So I just want to spend a little bit of time chatting and hopefully, having our viewers and our members get to know you and get to know the team. So
Sure.
Why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself and kind of, how'd you get included and started with SetSchedule?
Sure. So I actually started with SetSchedule basically right out of college. I've been here for about 3 years now. I started kind of on the server side of things to not get too much into the tech details. But that's kind of where I got started with the team. And from there, I've been able to kind of work my way through now towards the management phase where I have, all the different teams under me, the different, the web team, the iPhone, Android, the project management team, kind of everything that falls under the development category and kind of all lumped under me at the moment.
So it's this story, this SetSchedule, growing with SetSchedule that I love. I'm in the same boat as you, starting as an intern and working our way up, right? So what has the kind of the journey been that's allowed you to go from working on servers and, just maintaining servers to actually managing a team that's, developing such amazing technology?
It's been a long process. That's maybe a little bit of an understatement, I guess. It's been a lot of
3
work.
years is
It's been a lot of work, a lot of effort and dedication, but I'd say the biggest thing for me was really just getting involved with the company, getting to know the company, the ins, the outs, the goals, the vision, and kind of really digging in on that and committing to the company. And that's kind of where and how I got to where I am now.
Awesome. So, I mean, look, from when you got on, I mean, a lot, and personally speaking, a lot changed for the company. I mean, we are a technology firm and we create software as a solutions, and currently we're in the real estate space looking to obviously expand outside of that, which I guess we'll talk about that later on today. But for me, what are the how did you come together and create this team that you've put together to really be able to develop what we developed? Because coming out of college, fresh out of college, you don't know probably a third of or even a quarter of what you know today, right?
Sure.
So what were some of the learning experiences that you've kind of come across over the 3 years that you've been with SetSchedule that's allowed you to, be in a position to really manage an entire project of developing an application that you've got tens and thousands of agents using on a daily basis?
I would say it comes down to a lot of experience at this point. And like I'd mentioned, just a lot of hard work. So what got me to this point is the fact that I've been able to work on all of our different projects. I've worked on our servers. I've worked on different projects that are on the website, the desktop web app, the iOS app, the Android app. I've kind of worked on all of it. Mm-hmm. And that really let me get a good grasp of how everything works, how it all comes together, what challenges we may face on different platforms, what different users tend to like. Basically, all of that I kind of got the knowledge from working here, working with different teams, helping out here and there, kind of touching on all that stuff. And that's probably the biggest aspect of it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So what are some of the teams that you've worked with that have added, really helped you kind of build this application? Because, I mean, it's not just you alone, right?
Sure.
No one man can do what we've done, as quickly as we've done, which is really impressive to say, nonetheless. But who are some of the teams, the teams that you work with, and kind of who do you manage on a daily basis?
So that would be all of our different app teams more so. We have basically project management team, I guess you could call it. Mm-hmm. I work obviously very closely with them. We all work with the web team, the Android team, the iOS, the iPhone team, the design team. So all of it kind of comes together and works together and has to have really close collaboration and really strong communication to get things through and to be able to push that fast. Make sure that everyone knows what everyone's kind of working on, at least like the project managers know what all of the developers are working on, make sure they're all communicating, make sure we all know the challenges, the issues, make sure the design team communicates with the dev team. There's a lot of challenges around that, but that's really how we're able to push fast. Everyone is really close, everyone knows each other, everyone communicates really well, and it just works.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So you've mentioned challenges quite a bit in the last couple of questions. So what are some of the challenges the team faces? I mean, I'm sure it's immense, with all the bugs that, you guys have to fix immediately. But what are some of the challenges that you think, have been things that you've really had to tackle?
I guess it depends on what we're specifically talking about. If we're talking about something like consumer-facing technologies, then you focus a lot on let's say like UI, UX, making sure things feel really smooth, making sure it's intuitive. And that's more just something that we have an idea of when we go to design it, but you don't really know the feel until you actually have it in your hands and you're able to use it. So that's definitely one of the challenges from like the design perspective and kind of the app perspective and what most of our users would see at the moment. And then you have the other things that are kind of just like, I guess, functionality on our side, trying to make sure everything works the way it should. Something we'll probably touch on later, like the Connect ecosystem, and really making sure that it all works well and it works well together, and we have as little issues as possible, and we provide the best experience to both sides. It's a very, I guess, complex system that we have to work with, and it takes a lot of effort to really make sure it's in check, it's in line, and it works well.
Awesome. So talking about, the vision so when it comes down to you, you're the one who receives the vision from the upline, right?
Yeah.
Directly from the CEO, and it's kind of your responsibility in a sense to interpret the vision to actual, going down to bottom line to the coding that's developed, right? How do you take that vision and translate that and be able to kind of coordinate it with all the different teams that you work? And let's take an example. So you mentioned the SetConnects, right?
Yeah.
We had the vision of building a unique, linguistic-based nurturing system. And obviously automation, being a tech company, we want to know everything to be done through automation. Makes your job a lot easier, right? It doesn't. It makes it a lot more difficult, but it makes our user base's job easier,
sure.
right? But and that's always priority, right? We'll do the blunt of the work to make their lives a little bit easier. So how do you take that vision? How did you translate, hey, let's build a nurturing software that allows us to, take a lead that we aggregate from one of the lead vendors and take it to the point of the SetHello, the video audio conferencing line. I mean, how did you put that together?
So that was something that started with initially just the nurturing technology that we wanted to build. We kind of got that out there. We got it working. We made tweaks to it. We made improvements to it. And then from there, the next step is like, okay, how can we improve on it? How can we actually take what we have automated to this point, what's working and showing that it's working really well for us, and improve on it further? How can we make it better for our users? How can we make it better for, everyone that's actually receiving
the home shoppers, right?
Yeah, the home shoppers themselves. If they're interested, how can we connect them? How can we offer them the best experience possible? And that's kind of how we came up with that idea. We played around with different ideas as far as what we could do specifically to connect people, and that's kind of what we decided on was the SetHello and the SetConnect technology. Basically try to get both people on a call, whether they want to use audio, whether they want to use video, just they have the choice of what they want to do. But when a home shopper wants to speak to someone, they want to speak to them. At that point,
right
they're like, right now, let me talk to someone, I'm ready. If you wait 5, 10 minutes, an hour, 2 hours a day, you don't know if you're going to reach them. It's like picking up a phone call, same time. You want to get them on the line right there. Yeah. If you miss them, who knows what happens? So that's kind of what we were going for. Making sure we really kind of reach them when they need to be reached.
So I've had the pleasure of working with you, especially when we first started the Jessica platform, and I know you. I remember all the fun bugs, the UI bugs that we had with all the placements and so I want you to walk us through like the different phases, because I think that's important for people to understand. The technology doesn't get developed like that, and it's not like we go from 0 to 100, right? We have to take things in steps. So, what were kind of the steps that you had to take from going from, hey, this is the idea that we have, let's start nurturing these leads, to building? I mean, how many phases did we go through, and kind of give us a little bit of an insight as to, you talked about identifying a challenge in the current phase and, coming up with an update that might overcome it. So what were, like, if you could remember, I know we've done a ton of them, but if you can remember, what were the phases that we went through, and what were some of the challenges you faced that allowed us to eventually come with the, hey, let's connect someone now when they're ready?
Sure. So I'd say off the top of my head, I'm thinking of 4 major phases. There was a bunch of small steps in between that kind of led us to the next major step.
Okay.
So initial one was something that we built that was, it was a very closed system. We couldn't customize it all that much. It was more of a proof of concept, make sure it works. So we started with that. That's our initial starting point. And then we realized, wow, okay, this works really well. How do we use it? How do we take it to the next step? And then we're like, okay, so what we have now doesn't really support it well. And we had to kind of go rebuild. And it took some time, but we ended up with a system that's really fully customizable. We can do what we want with it. We can choose how to reach out to people, when to reach out to people, customize all sorts of things. And that's kind of the next major step. That opened up everything else for us, basically. So from there, we built on it as the next major step, which is basically giving Jessica more capabilities, more understanding, allowing Jessica to be customized further. And then from there, we took it kind of to the step of actually the connect, of, okay, now it's to the point where it can really understand people better. It can serve people better. It can respond to them. We can customize it the way we want. So the next step was, okay, what's the biggest improvement we could make at that point, which is direct connections, obviously, or being able to serve them with whatever they want whenever they need it. And that's kind of how we got to the connect.
Awesome. So I'm assuming we're not done there. We're not stopping there. How do you see, the SetConnect? And I know we're spending a lot of time on SetConnect because I think this is, in my opinion, I think this is a feature that I don't think enough members understand. They know it's there. They get the call from the 949 numbers. They know they got to answer it and just say, hey, this is, Danny from SetSchedule. Who do you got on the line today, right? But what do you see in the next 6 months? How do you see this evolving? And then my follow-up question will be, well, how do you see that affecting SetSchedule and as a company as a whole?
Sure. So more along the lines of Connect and what's kind of going on there. Right now, everything kind of happens through text messages, through offerings, phone calls, different things. So for the people who've actually been offered a connection or through the SetConnect, or who've clicked on a link through SetHello, you kind of know how it works. But next step is starting to take that towards the app. So when something's available, it's going to pop up in your app.
That's awesome.
It's going to actually...
Right now, it's just SMS, right?
Exactly. So if you're in the app, it's going to pop up in your face. You're going to get the quickest chance to connect. So if you're in the app all the time, best possible chance. You don't have to then go check a text message, try to click a link there. You click it, you click, and you should be in the room.
That sounds awesome.
So it speeds up the process. It really will help anyone who's consistently using the app. Obviously, integrating into the app and taking it further and further from there would be the goal. That's kind of further out, probably, adding more and more functionalities in there, rebuilding and kind of adding a lot of features that we have roadmapped would be kind of the next steps for the Connect evolution. Apart from the Connect, I mean, we have the community app that we've been teasing for quite a while now.
Yes, we have.
So there's a lot going on there too. I don't know how much detail we're going to go in here. But there's...
I think we'll save it for another time. Yeah.
But that's the major next release we're looking at. That's gonna change a lot of kind of our dynamic, our users, and I'll leave it at that for now, I guess.
So for those who don't know what the 3.0 app is, can you give a little bit of a background of what people can expect to get from the app?
Sure. So we're going to offer a lot more collaboration tools. I mean, the people who are familiar with the CRM kind of know some of the functionalities we have now. We're going to expand on those. We're bringing in easier use of kind of teams, I guess you could call it. You can start your own team. You can invite whoever you want. There's a lot we're going to do with that, but the main focus is collaboration and connections. If you need to find someone, if you need an answer for something, it'll help you get that. Right. I'm trying not to go too in depth, obviously, and trying to keep it at a higher level, which is making it a little bit difficult, but that's
because you're so intricately involved in all the details. Yeah.
Yep.
So for me, I think the community app is extremely exciting because it allows you, like you said, it allows you to really build an ecosystem of professionals that you can go to if you need questions, and you can go to if you want to collaborate on, with your mortgage broker, let's say, right? Or for your interior design. So I think that we're really building and kudos to you and the team, because you guys are really building a fantastic platform that allows, really agents to have a whole new way of managing and developing their business. So I'm extremely excited about it. How do you expect the next 6 months to be with the company? I mean, what can people expect from us? Obviously, the app is going to come out and it's going to be fantastic, but what happens after that?
We've got a lot roadmapped, actually, for different updates to that, different sections of our app. We've got a whole lot planned out. We're planning on releases every month. We're planning on making sure we have there's a lot that's going to be rolled out, making sure we improve the experience of users, obviously take into account feedback. There's obviously a lot of new features that are going into it. So we want the user feedback, and we want to pivot based off user feedback if necessary, see if we hit the mark, what we can do better, what we can focus on to improve what we have now and what we're building for release.
That's awesome. So I'm going to ask my last question. You've mentioned feedback and getting feedback from members. If someone has, if the user of the application has feedback they want to provide us, what's the best way to get it to the development team?
Going through the contact support feature, you could actually use that as kind of a way of getting it through without necessarily having to talk to anyone. Mm-hmm. If you're in contact with someone from the support team or from the success channels,
right?
Yeah, exactly. You could pass it through them. They always send us. They're constantly sending us feedback and user feedback and what people want to see in the app, and we're trying to figure out when we can analyze it, when we can fit it in, what we can do with it, how we can improve, obviously, the app for the users, and kind of go from there.
That's awesome. Well, Daniel, thanks for joining me. I know you're super swamped, and taking the time to kind of chat with me and let the members and even the home shoppers, all users know what's going to be happening. I think he's extremely exciting. I'm also very excited. I hope to do a couple more of these with you and really dive into the team and the intents and how the team intended a lot of the features to be used, right? Again, thanks for joining. Hopefully, we'll see you on the next one. And for you, those of you who are watching us here, thanks again for joining us. And again, I've got Daniel, and we'll see you on the next one. Take care.